Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great. First of all, please bear with me. There's a little noise in the background, but actually this is an emergency broadcast, okay? And all I can ask of you is that you help me to share this video as widely as you possibly can. Today is Sunday, and on this very day, the so-called president of Nigeria is jetting out to France, to Paris, for an economic summit on Africa. An economic summit on Africa to discuss the African economy post-COVID. Remember, for people who do not know, pandemic economics is very popular with the colonial powers. Whenever there's a pandemic on the continent, it is always an opportunity for them to continue to enslave us the more. Because these pandemics provide them the opportunity to ravage our economy. And once the economy is messed up, the next thing you hear is that they call our presidents, their agents, they summon them. And when they come, they tell them, oh, you are so poor now. This pandemic has taken all your money away. You have to borrow from us now. And then if we give you this money, you're going to pay us this way or that way. And the cycle of doom and slavery continues to go on and on and on. A generational curse that just needs to be broken now or never. Look at Emmanuel Macron hosting an economic summit on Africa. A man like Emmanuel Macron is going to save Africa? Really? Emmanuel Macron, the #1 agent of the colonial powers, the wicked ones who have refused to let any single French colony in Africa to breathe. Till this day. Are you aware? I made a 2-part video to this effect. Are you aware that our French colonies in Africa are still paying colonial tax to France? The British colonies are not even exempted. They do their own in a different way. They pay colonial tax to France. You have to pay us money for colonizing you and showing you the light that we didn't see before they came. That's the argument that we are still holding on to in the 21st century. And yet the Westerners will come to teach us democracy and teach us sense, and we accept and allow them to do it. Are you aware that French colonies in Africa are compelled to store their foreign reserve at a bank in Paris? Their own foreign reserve. They have to keep it at a bank in Paris. And when they need it, they will go back to Paris and say, we need money from our foreign reserve. But rather than give them that money which belongs to them, they receive that same money as a loan. And that loan comes with a humongous interest. Their own money which France compelled them to keep at a bank in Paris. It's all part of the colonial strangulation of Africa that nobody is saying or doing anything about. France is the second largest landowner in Africa. I call it land ownership because they own countries. They own nations and the people in those nations. Britain is the highest, followed by France. But France is more openly active on the continent. Physically active. They don't hide their own stealing and pillaging of our continent. Britain has a way of doing their own undercover. But every single thing that France is doing, Britain does it twice more. The people are killing us. They don't want us to ever breathe because everything they need for their 21st century survival is in the soils of Africa. We have it. And they don't think we can come into some type of equal partnership. No, we are slaves as far as they're concerned. That's why they can't allow us to choose our leaders. That's why they have to be the ones who decide who rules us. That's why they helped to bring Buhari to power. That's why they did not allow us to have our own president. They gave us a man they call president. As long as they call him president, even if we don't regard him as a president, it's okay. This is the same Buhari that is asking AFRICOM with no single support from any African nation. Buhari asking AFRICOM to come and relocate their headquarters in Africa. That's the Buhari. He's heading off for an economic summit. An economic summit they couldn't do virtually. Meanwhile, he's having virtual meetings here and there, but this one, he has to be there physically, yeah? Yeah? He has to go physically to go have an economic summit with France. With France. We know you, France. We know what you are capable of doing. We know what you have done and what you have continued to do on the continent of Africa. We know the plans that you guys have for us. But this is why I'm making this video. I am issuing a very strong warning right now. And this is the second time I'm issuing this warning in less than 1 week. There was a video I put out there where I talked about the video from Adefarasin. I issued the same warning in that video, and I'm doing it again. In that video, I discussed 2 different scenarios that are likely to play out in Nigeria because of the desperation of the colonial powers. You know, unfortunately, we always look at the people they put in front to fight for them. You look at the Fulani, you look at Hausa, you look at tribe, you look at this. It's all nonsense. Your real enemy and your real problem is the colonial powers. The 2 scenarios I talked about, number 1, the terrorists could overrun Abuja and overwhelm Aso. Number 2, there could be a military coup, and the guys who will carry it out will be loyal to the terrorists. I said it. I'm repeating it again. And why am I repeating it now? Because your Oga is traveling to France, and you know we have a track record. We have a very evil, satanic track record with this man. We know there is an antecedent that whenever he turns his back, some of the most unthinkable and unimaginable mayhem is visited on Nigerians by terrorists. And we don't know why. Is it just a coincidence? We don't know, but it just happens. He's leaving again. This one could not happen virtually, so they're going physically. We don't know. I'm not saying it will happen now. I'm just saying to look out, be on the lookout. Because anything can happen anytime. You don't know whether this is the time they've planned for it to happen. I've told you before, the terrorists are on overdrive. Their sponsors are on overdrive. The colonial powers are on mega overdrive. Everybody is freaking out right now. You know why? Do you know why? Because for the first time in many years, the southern governors have now finally decided to leave trivialities behind and come together as one to push for the thing that their people have been crying over for so many years. Restructure Nigeria. Go ahead and do it. What have you got to lose by doing that if you are not a criminal? Obey the federal character. When a southern president is there, you compel him to obey it. But Buhari has not obeyed it from day one, since the day he became the president. And everybody thinks it's okay. They are making demands that make sense. We have deep waters in the southern part of Nigeria, but we have only one functional seaport in Lagos. Clogged, and there's no movement in that area. And you cannot think of diversifying this and letting the southern places also have their own seaports that are functional. What about international airports? Why are we being caged in our own lands? Today, the southern governors have gotten up and said, you know what, enough is enough. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. I thought it was the usual politics that they normally play. That's why I never said anything about it. I waited. It's almost 1 week now. And the guys are still standing by what they said. I am seeing some consistency. I am seeing some strength and boldness. As a matter of fact, many of them are actually doing their second term. So what have you got to lose? Stand up for your people for once. They have Northern Governors Forum. When they do it, all of the North attend the meeting. But now, for the first time, you guys have come together. Have you seen some of them already getting angry? They are jittery. They are screaming. They are getting angry. Why? Why? Because all they have done is divide the South. It's either they are playing the Yorubas against the Igbos, or they are playing our South brothers against the Igbos, or they are playing the Igbos against this one. This is all they have done. This is it. That's why when I heard that somebody was saying that, well, IPOB is planning to attack Lagos, I said, oh, I see. They're just still fighting. This is the last fight of a dying monster. So that when they do that and an attack happens, they can turn on the Igbos, and then Igbos and Yorubas will resume their rivalry again, and the fight and the hatred. It will not happen. Not at this time. We are wiser now. Our Yoruba brothers, even our Benue brothers, everybody is together, united against wickedness. The time has come. If we live, we live. If we die, we die. I'm happy. But then we must be cautious, because they are not. The colonial powers have been against restructuring. It is not the North that is against restructuring. It is not the Fulani that is against restructuring. I always want you to know where your problem is coming from. You must never be distracted. I said it during the last elections in Nigeria. Remember what happened during the last elections, for you to know where your problem is coming from. Let me take you down the memory lane right now. Please stay with me. During the last election, remember there was something that happened. A Nigerian artist by the name Two-Face Idibia was so disgusted by the level of massacre and killing taking place in his homeland of Benue State, which was now spreading across the entire nation. And Two-Face organically was angry and decided he was going to lead a protest. Right? As Two-Face was saying this, so many Nigerian youths who were already angry and fed up with the system and with the killings and with the lack of action from the federal government, they were ready to rally around him, to join him, to invest in this revolution that was potentially going to shake the government to its roots. They knew it. They quickly moved in, and they quenched it and evacuated that plan. When that happened, the colonial powers and the intelligence agencies decided, you know what? We will never allow any organic assembly like this happen again. In order to forestall it, let us create a lot of fake hopes for them. And one of them was the youth presidency movement. I am about the only human being who made a video to expose it, that it was a creation of the European intelligence. The youth presidency movement was meant to produce or create a fake hope for the youths so that they can channel their original organic energy that was meant to potentially start a revolution and channel it to this fake hope that was never to be. I said it. The video is still out there on social media. Nobody listened to me. They were rather paying attention to the individuals they put out front. And they thought I was having some hatred towards those individuals. I didn't care. I still don't care where you come from. I'm only telling you the truth. They didn't pay attention. What happened? It was a fake hope. It was a hope that was never to be realized. They didn't stop there. For the first time during that period, under the presidency of Nyawodo as the head of the Ohanese Igbo, they met together with the Afenifere, they met with the Niger Delta one, all of them, even with the Middle Belt ones. They came together for the first time and said, we are now as one, and we have one request to make. There are so many requests, but the one they put out front the most was restructuring of Nigeria. So what did they do, the colonial powers? They invited Atiku to the Chatham House. You know, I used to tell people, the Chatham House is the modern day colonial office. Remember when the first son of Satan, Lord Lugard, was about to amalgamate Nigeria. He wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to the colonial office to get the permission to carry out his evil machinations. That colonial office today is the Chatham House. Any president that goes there will never care for their people. For once. The day Atiku was invited there, I was having a live Facebook program. I made a video. And I told everyone, I said, watch him, they're going to push him forward. And they're going to use him to destroy our people. What happened? Nobody ever thought Atiku was going to get anywhere close to clinching the nominee for PDP. When the convention held in Rivers State, only God knows how the Europeans came, how they did it. Money was flowing like water. And they induced everybody and pushed Atiku from back to the front and made him the nominee. What did Atiku offer? What was he telling the people that made them now want to even support him at all? He came up with the placard, restructuring, restructuring. I am for restructuring. I am for restructuring. The restructuring program that Tony Nadi was carrying around is what Atiku went to present to the people and say, I am for restructuring. And Nigerians believe. So they now got our elders who were pushing, who said that we don't want any election unless there is a restructured Nigeria. The people now suddenly just bury the whole thing. They said, okay, no problem. So now we have somebody who's going to restructure Nigeria. Let's forget about pushing for this now. Let's have the election. So they have gotten the youths to go to sleep, and they've got our elders now to begin to slumber. Atiku was an agent, it was fake. I said it, I made a video, check it. Fake! That's why when the election that everybody saw as completely rigged, one of the most useless, in fact, it was a caricature of an election. Stolen blood and black and white. Atiku, look at this. Did you see his body language? He was not even ready to fight. Even when Nigerians were ready to fight with him, Atiku did. Because the guy was brought there to do a job. He's done his job, and I'm sure he's probably been handsomely rewarded. So what's his business? They came to play some little games. So his in-law has been arrested. I say, look at this guy. I can play that better for you guys. Atiku is a very dangerous guy. Nobody should bring him into anything that has to do with saving Nigeria or its indigenous peoples. He did his job and he left. Now, if the colonial powers who wanted to control both the incumbent and the opposition could do that then, you think they are going to keep quiet now that the Southerners are now ready for the real thing? Can you see what is happening? You see why we need to wake up right now? The people always want to control both sides of the coin. They always want to have black and white under their control. I showed you this. That is their code. Black and white will control them both. Even when two nations are fighting, they are the ones sponsoring the two to fight. That's how they function. That's how they are killing Africa. And once they were able to do that, what happened? Buhari is still your president today. And the killing has even gotten worse. If they panicked over just our own organizations, regional organizations and youths, imagine the kind of panic they will be having now that our governors actually seem to be very serious. Think about this for a moment. That's why I am warning everybody, be careful, because they might execute as Buhari is leaving. I'm not saying it will happen, I'm saying might. Be careful, governors. Raise an army within your territories, because whoever takes over Abuja, the colonial powers will support, and that person will unleash the worst mayhem you've ever thought of on these governors and their regions. This is why we had all those, military rules we've had in the past. They had the blessings of the colonial powers. It was not military that came and gave us a constitution in which our indigenous peoples were not part of. Do you think that they just got up and did it on their own? No, the colonials wanted it that way so they can continue to steal. The corruption you see in Nigeria today was created to help Britain to steal our money. That's why a man will collect $50 billion, have hundreds of millions of dollars, and send it to a bank in Swiss and the UK, and they will ask him, what are you doing with this money? They will keep it and be using it. Even when we find out and say, give us back our money, they still drag their feet. And yet you come and blame Hausa and blame Fulani. You don't know who your enemy is. I'm warning everybody. Let's be ready. I said it before, if we live, we live. If we die, we die. All I've been crying and praying for has been for our governors to wake up. It appears they've woken up now. And I'm telling you, the level of panic in the camp of these wicked people is unbelievable. It is unimaginable. Anything can happen at any time. And I believe this was why Pastor Paul Adefras said what he said. I know so many people try to get famous over his statement and all of that nonsense. But well, he said what he said. As a human being, you know, there are people who can afford plan B, they can go. There are people who can't afford it. Then we're going to have to fight. It's not the best option, but what he said is true. And that's what is going to happen with so many people. The die is cast. We need to wake up now. We need to band together and fight, Nigerians. This is it. No more elections. No more elections. No more elections. Restructure Nigeria. That's why they kicked Jonathan out, amongst other things. Restructure Nigeria now or never. Restructure it. If you are not a criminal, you cannot be running away from a restructured. Restructure it and stop stealing from us. We are humans also. Everything they need, we have it. That's why they're running away from it. But it has to happen now. Please, Southerners, get together. Prepare your army. Because if these people take over Abuja or Aso Rock, they're going to come after us. We must not just make statements and go to sleep. We must be ready to resist whatever happens. We must make sure that nobody conducts any more election in Nigeria until there is a sovereign national congress like the one that Jonathan did. We will not have to decide our own fate by ourselves. We are tired of having some people decide our fate in Europe. They divided our continent in Germany. They are hosting the so-called African Command of the U.S. Army in Stuttgart, Germany. And they are discussing economic summit in France. Everything about us is abroad. Are you mad? Enough is enough. Let's get ready. God is with us. God is only saying, can you guys stand? If you can stand, I will be with you. If we can chicken out cowardly, nothing is going to happen. But if we can stand strong, he said, I will be with you. And I know God is going to be with us. Southern Nigeria is so militarized right now. I'm telling you. And the time has come for something to give. The time has come for something to give. And trust me, God is with us this time around. It's either we get what we're looking for or we'll never smell freedom forever. And may God forbid. God bless you.